But Felicitas has a lot of heart. So she's an artist. And let's talk about that single, because you are here because of the single, right? So the single is Change Now or Never. Why that single, and what is the story behind that single?
So I started a project. It always begins with an idea. You want to bring that idea to life, and then you start from somewhere. So I wrote my producer. He's a Cameroonian. He's in Bermuda right now. The one I presently work with, because my first album I worked with Italians. I told him I want to produce an EP of 6 songs, and I sent him some references. We talked about the entire project, and then he said okay. So he sent me the bass, all the instrumentals when they were ready, and I took that particular instrumental of Change Now or Never. It touched my soul. It hit me.
It spoke to you.
Yeah, it spoke to me. It said something to me. I think amongst all the instrumentals that he sent me, that was my favorite. So I listened to it over and over and over and over. I said, if I have to write something on this beat, it should be something that not only I can relate to, but the world can relate to. The inspiration came from the present crisis we have right now in Cameroon, the Anglophone Crisis.
And why was it so important for you to talk about the Anglophone Crisis? Because you have to say this is kind of a sea crisis that we have in Cameroon. You have been talking about it at some point. Somehow we kind of forgetting about the crisis that are facing. So you always think that those kind of things happen to other people, right? This is one of the main reasons I wanted to have you here, because this is something that really touched my heart, and I didn't know how I could speak out about it. And I thought, what a great opportunity when you send me your single. I say, I got it. So I got the opportunity to speak loud about what I was thinking. So all these months, how you receive all these text messages through WhatsApp, all those videos with kids that have been hurt, with people that are leaving their hands. The dead body is just like, I mean, I have no word to say. So at some point I was just like, this doesn't look like Cameroon, but what can we do? Each of us our own level, right? So this is our way to speak out, to say we cannot be silent in front of those crises. We have to speak out and we have to do something. Each of us should do something in his own way. So let's speak out, let's be silent, because it's not normal to see our friend, our family suffer, and I'm sure it's even so deep for you to be so far, communication or information, not to know if your family is doing well. Because like I'm in Yaoundé, I can feel better because I'm saying anyway my family is Yaoundé, but that's not fair, right?
Yeah.
Because we are all Cameroonian, so we should speak loud. So that was my point, to have you here so that you have the opportunity to make this single be known by Cameroonian, right? And to say what's come from your heart.
Yeah.
So tell us the story about that single.
So I started writing the song. When I said I wanted something that not only I can connect to, I wanted something that people back home can connect to. So I went back, I looked at the videos on Facebook, the countless, I saw bloodshed, I saw people dying. I mean, the number of people that have died because of this crisis, it's overwhelming. You don't want to even think about it. It hurts. It hurts because even if it's not your blood relative, it could be a family member.
Definitely.
It could be a family member. It's someone's child that
definitely.
That
I saw
was
some
murdered
child.
in cold blood.
Exactly. I saw a little boy. I was like, that could be my son. So I cannot be silent.
Yeah.
We have to speak out to say this is not the way things can be. You have crises in Spain where people want to divide in Barcelona, but they are not getting at that point. So why in Africa, in Cameroon, we cannot have differences without having blood? That is my point. That's not the first country where you have a piece of a land who say, I want to be autonomous, independent, but we don't have to be at that point because this is our child, this is our doctor, this is our brother, this is our sister. So
I saw everything again. I said to myself, this is not the home I remember.
No, at all. Neither me.
This is not the home I remember. If I am to go back now, I would not recognize a thing. Everything has changed, and the population has reduced, cut down. I don't know if by a quarter but I felt the pain. I was like, I live in the fear that someone could call me tomorrow and say, oh, this happened to your mother. For example, 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine sent me, forwarded to me his father's funeral program and said his father was suddenly shot.
Oh my gosh.
In his house. No one knows who shot him. They found him there. And I was like, this could be my father. It could be anyone's father.
It could be.
Where are we going?
It could be my uncle.
Where are we going? So I thought of all these things, and I thought of the leaders. I'm like, what are they doing? Because that crisis is something that could have been avoided. It started with, like, the greatest of all wars that we've had on this earth started with one manifestation, one little manifestation or the other. So that's something that could have been avoided if the president or the leaders of the government sat down, heard the people's cry and said, you know what, let's look into this, because if we don't fix this, it will become something else. But the neglect, they neglected everything, and from a small manifestation, it became a strike that not just students, but teachers and government workers were involved in. It led from that to a war.
An unseen war. So,
of any country, it is your right to speak out if you feel that you're not being treated the right way. If you feel that you're being treated less than a human, if you feel that you're being treated less than your fellow brother or your fellow sister. We don't need marginalization. We don't need discrimination. We're equal, we're one. So let your voice be heard. Don't just sit there. I would speak more to the artists, because they have that power to communicate to the whole world through their music, through their paintings, through whatever form of art. I'll tell you this: wake up and let your voice be heard. Don't sleep anymore, because you never know. If a change will always start with one person. It could be that just one word from your mouth will make that change. But as long as you fear, you stay in your comfort zone and you don't say anything, people are dying, people are suffering, children are getting lost every day, being kidnapped from one place to the other, families are crying. We need a change, now or never.
And this was
the song.
This was the title.
That's the song title. Yeah, I mean, you need to listen to it. If you haven't listened to it yet, then I don't know what you're doing. You need to listen to the song. We're tired of leaders who cannot lead. We're tired of leaders not making that change for us.
And do you think that for us Cameroonians, you have given the appropriate attention to this?
I think we haven't given it the attention it needed. Well, some of us have really gone an extra mile to create awareness, but most of us, out of fear, we just stay back and just say, no, you know what, I don't want to do anything that will get me into trouble tomorrow. I mean, who are you afraid of? You're talking about you, you're talking about yourself, you're talking about your future.
the future of your children. Because if you don't fight to change it now, your children will face what you're facing now. They will come and they will suffer go through the same suffering.
But maybe one with the crisis as of now, but it will be
something else.
Exactly. Always think that this is happening to other. It will never happen to us.
Yes.
And this is what I came from, and this is where I came from. I have to say it because when I saw those images, I would have never thought in my life that I would have seen such image from my country. I was just like, this is not it. I can't believe it's Cameroon,
Yeah. It's so transformation.
And the thing maybe 1 minute song change now or never, and then listen to her